So Amit and Erica, I'm going to let you guys take it away.
Thank you
Awesome.
guys. And it's nice to see some familiar faces on here. Like Ash was saying, Amit and I work with Neo Home Loans, part of the Insight team. And it has been so cool getting to know some of you through this event. And I am genuinely so excited to meet you guys in person. The event's going to be so much fun. But today we aren't going to be talking about the event. We're going to be talking about who we are and why we got put in touch with you guys. Our CEO, Ryan Grant, and Siri have already met and have done a couple meetings together. And just getting to know you guys and your mission from what Siri and Tina has told us, it's really in line with what we do. So Amit is the team lead for the Insight team, and I wanted to bring him here today so that way we can tell you guys a little bit about who we are, what we do, and we love it when you guys interrupt and interact and have your cameras on and hang out with us. We don't want it to be a formal, stuffy presentation. So if there's any run-on sentences, if you guys are losing interest, just hit the eject button and say something to break it up, all right? Cool.
Awesome.
Start off to a good start.
Cool. It's very nice to meet you guys all. So today I really wanted to help kind of clarify who we are at Neo, what we do in terms of how we help clients, how we help our agent partners, just so you can kind of get an understanding of, what a business partnership with our team looks like. And how that can really differ from what the majority of lenders out there are providing right now. So I have a little presentation for you guys where I'm going to walk through kind of step by step what we do, how we're different, and you guys can kind of identify that in your own businesses as well in terms of who you guys may be partnering with right now for lending, maybe a vendor for lenders. So I'm going to share my screen here in a moment and just kind of walk through that. But before I get started, is there any questions that anybody has about, or does everybody know kind of who we are a little bit based on conversations with Siri or conversations with Ryan?
If you guys could actually go into a little bit of like your history and what Neo slash the Insight team is all about, I think that'd be a great place to start.
Yeah, absolutely. So me personally, I started in the industry back in early 2013. This was when I just graduated college. Ryan Grant had actually picked me out of right out of college and started mentoring me. And we had worked for 3 different mortgage lending companies prior to starting Neo here. And one thing that we kind of saw at every single mortgage company was that every company basically put the company's profits well ahead of the best interest of every customer that we served. And what we realized was that because we are handling one of the largest debt pieces as well as one of the largest asset pieces that most people are taking on in their lives, because we're helping them finance it, you guys are helping them acquire it. There's so much that gets involved with that process. There's so many questions that a consumer has. There's so many concerns that a consumer has as to whether or not this makes the most sense for them, whether or not they should be in a position to be buying a home right now, or should they be saving a little bit more? Should they wait till they have a little bit more income? And ultimately, we found that financial literacy was not taught at any mortgage company across the industry. And so we know that unfortunately, only really the top 1% of consumers get access to the information that they need to become successful long term. And we feel like that's a disservice to every community in America, right? The 99% don't get access to that information. And so our goal was to start a company that would effectively be the kind of family office of financial services to every community that we come across in America. And so that's why we kind of started Neo, is to effectively spread financial literacy to every customer that we ultimately meet and get to work with. And that's really kind of the mantra of our business, right? That's why we do what we do. That's why our process is so much different from every other mortgage lending company out there, because we truly care about what happens to the consumer, not only during the 30 to 60 days leading up to the transaction, but for the 30 years post-transaction. I'm going to get into that a lot more heavily here in just a few minutes. Cool. All right, so I'm going to share my screen here and let's walk through this together. All right, so this is kind of our partnership advantage presentation, and I'm going to go over kind of everything that we do here and how that's going to impact your guys' business, but really, most importantly, how it's going to create an army of raving fans of all of your clients as well. Now, one thing that we basically have noticed is that the actual process of purchasing, getting qualified, buying home is really such a small aspect of the entire process as a whole. Because at the end of the day, what we're really doing for all of our clients, as well as our, what our realtor partners are doing, is really managing that asset at the absolute highest level. And that's really 99% of what we do, because that creates so much opportunity for us, right? Getting the client into a home, getting them pre-approved, getting them qualified, that's the easy part. Anybody can do that. But how we manage that client's home over the course of the next, 3 to 5 years, depending on what their goals are for that home, whether they want to turn it into an investment property, whether they want to sell it down the line to get that as a step up into their next home. We really want to make sure that we're helping that client manage that asset at the absolute highest level, selling it at the appropriate time, turning it into a rental at the appropriate time, and making sure that we're managing their overall financial portfolio and ensuring that we are always staying top of mind with that client. Then that goes for the lending side as well as the real estate side, right? Because we never want to make any client feel like they have to go anywhere else outside of our sphere when that time comes to ultimately go sell or rent out their home or finance or purchase a new property. We always want to be the absolute go-to, that anytime a client thinks of finance, real estate, trust, insurance planning, they always look at Neo Home Loans and Brand Realty as kind of the utmost experts on who they are planning on working with any of those. And so I'll go into that a little bit further here. But what I want to really highlight is the differences between what a lending vendor is, as well as what a true business partnership is in this industry. Now, a lending vendor is basically probably who you guys already work with. They probably communicate decently. They ideally close on time, hopefully, and ideally they're giving some clarity to the client with regards to what their financial scenario or what their financing scenarios look like, so that they have at least a cursory understanding of what they're getting themselves into. Now, that's great, but that's really not something that's going to help you grow your business, because what we've found to be one of the biggest hindrances to getting people excited and motivated about buying a home is what the majority of lenders do, which is they get them qualified in 35 seconds. And then ultimately they hand them a piece of paper that says, hey, you're pre-approved up to this amount. Here's what your mortgage payment is. Call me once you get into escrow. Right? That's kind of what the majority of processes look like. Now, the problem with that is that the majority of customers, when they see a mortgage payment that's 30, 40, 50% higher than what maybe their current rent payment is right now, right? Or they see a monthly payment or an interest rate that's super high because they're just not aware of what's going on in the market right now, they get cold feet, right? They decide, maybe it doesn't make sense for me to take on a higher mortgage payment because I'm paying so much less in rent right now. It doesn't make sense because interest rates are high right now. We don't know what the market's going to do here in the near future. So we're just going to take a step back, hold off on buying, hold off on maybe selling their home because they think the market is declining. They don't want to lose equity in their home. And that ultimately creates in a scenario where the client gets demotivated, not excited anymore, and they decide, okay, we're going to take a step back and hold off for 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever that time frame ends up being. Now, with a true business partnership with our team specifically, what we're going to be doing is going to be so much more high level than all of those, all the majority of other lenders, that we're going to see a substantially higher conversion of new leads. We have on our end a scalable business model, which the majority of lenders, as we've seen over the last 2 years, especially, absolutely did not. Right. And so one of the ways that we operate is our goal is always to be operating at about 50% capacity in terms of the amount of work that we have on our plates. And the reason that we do that is we know that there are crazy spikes in this industry, right? 2 months from now, if we see rates drop a point, there's going to be a crazy, influx of business. There's going to be people looking to try to leverage more equity in their home while they can. And so there's going to be a big spike in business, which is going to create an environment where where most companies would not have as much bandwidth to help their agent partners when they absolutely need it. Right? Because there's going to be a feeding frenzy of buyers who are trying to get into homes. There's going to be a feeding frenzy of sellers who are going to want to list and sell their homes while they can, take advantage of lower interest rates during that time frames. So we have a scalable business model so that way, in the event that happens, we can always be performing at the highest level for you guys. And then what I feel is our true biggest value to all of our agent partners is really how we organically help you grow your business, right? One of the reasons why so many of our agent partners love working with us is because all of their clients have such a phenomenal experience, because not regardless of whether they're a first-time home buyer or a fifth-time home buyer, they're going to be seeing the process be very different from what the majority of mortgage lenders do. And that's what creates these armies of raving fans of ours that love to refer their friends, family, colleagues, and a lot of times right after that initial meeting with us. And I just on Friday, we had a client who we met, what I personally had met with. We went through an hour-long consultation with them, had a phenomenal, consultation. And on Monday, I had a call scheduled with a new client who literally just went to my scheduling link and scheduled a call because that client had referred her over to us. And so it was really awesome to see that. We see that consistently. And one of the best ways that we can help our agent partners grow their business is by taking those referrals that we get and pushing them right back to you. So one of the things that we always do is anytime a client gets referred over to us from an agent partner, any referrals that come from that partner are going to go right back to you guys. That's really one of the best ways that we can really help you guys organically grow your business. And we've done that for so many of our agent partners. And it's been awesome to see how many of them have grown their business organically simply because of partnering with our team. Now, before I move forward here, any questions on that?
I have a quick question for you.
Yeah.
When you said you did like an hour-long consultation and then this referral had booked through your link. Is it the goal? Do you try to do a consultation with every client that comes in, or?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
Every
that
single client
sounds.
is going to get the exact same experience because we feel like that's truly something that they deserve, right? They're going to be buying, again, one of the biggest assets that they're likely taking on. And so we owe it to them from a fiduciary perspective to make sure that they're put in the appropriate financing scenario. They view all of the available options that they have to them, view all of the different down payment scenarios to figure out what's going to make the most sense for them financially in terms of their monthly payment comfortability, in terms of having the appropriate reserve fund after closing and whatnot. So that's why we have such a robust team. So that way, while myself and my other mortgage advisors are in consultations all day, we have team members that are going to be available to ensure that they can call the clients that you guys have and set up the appropriate meetings with us.
Cool. Thank you.
Absolutely. Any other questions before I move on here? All righty. All right. So these are the three kind of scenarios that we go through with every single one of our clients. And it really depends on where they're at. So there's the equity analysis plan. That's basically for sellers. So these are people that are looking to potentially sell their homes, purchase a new property, or maybe just keep the net proceeds depending on what they think is going to be happening in the market here. But anytime we have a client who has a current home right now that they're thinking about potentially selling or maybe listing for rent, we're going to have an equity analysis consultation with them. We're going to go through their overall financial picture, figure out, okay, based on the current debt liabilities that they hold, the current amount of equity that they would have in their home, the net proceeds that they would get from the sale of their home, and we'll base that on the expected amounts that you guys would consider their home to sell for. We'll basically show them what that transition from one home to another is going to look like. So that way they can see, okay, well, can I get myself into a better financial position here? Is it going to be too large of a step up? Is it going to be just right? Are we going to be comfortable in that range? And that's really one thing that a lot of our agent partners have leaned on us to really help them secure listings as well, right? A lot of people, especially right now, are concerned about the market, right? They may be hesitant as to whether or not they want to list their home right now. And this has allowed a lot of our agent partners to convert their listing appointments at a much higher level, because now that consumer really knows their numbers and they feel excited and confident about what that transition is going to hold. And they're going to be a lot more excited to work with you because you would put them in touch with us to help walk them through that full financing analysis. So that's been awesome to see. And then we have our purchase prep meeting, right? This is a meeting that we have with clients who, let's say, have not owned a home yet. They're concerned about the market. They don't know if they want to, submit an application or get the qualification process started because they don't know if the prospect of buying a home for them is the right, goal for them right now, right? And so this is someone who, is not ready to buy. Maybe they're going to be ready to buy in 2, 3, 6 months, 2 years, whatever that time frame comes. We're going to have our purchase prep meeting with them. That's where we're going to show them the full financing analysis. We're going to show them what that transition looks like from renting a home to buying a home in today's current market environment. We're going to go through the rent versus buy analysis, so that way they can actually see where their money will ultimately be going, instead of just continuing to pay their landlord's mortgage, even if that means taking on a higher mortgage payment on a monthly basis. And that's really where we take a lot of the psychology of a buyer or a prospective buyer, where they're fearful, they're not confident, they're lacking motivation, and turn that fear and anxiety into confidence and motivation to get out there and start shopping for homes, get their financing, all of their documentation and application into our system so we can get them qualified and have you guys go out there and start shopping for homes for them. And so this meeting is really the key difference maker in changing that psychology from that apprehensive buyer to that confident buyer. And then if you have a client that is already ready to go, they want to buy a home, they just don't really know what their numbers look like. This is where we're going to go through, again, another financing analysis with that customer. Ideally for this client, we're going to have reviewed all of their application, their documentation up front. So we know their numbers, we've crossed all our T's, dotted all our I's. They know their numbers because we've gone through that financing analysis with them, answered all the questions that they would have had with regards to rates, closing costs, down payment scenarios. And same thing in this scenario, it's going to take even the most hesitant of buyers and turn them into excited and motivated buyers for you to get out there and start shopping. And we're going to go a little bit more in detail as to how we kind of change that psychology here as well in a moment. Any questions about any of these processes with clients? All righty. All right, so this is kind of when, especially for prospective buyers, I want to kind of highlight the differences of what we do for our clients up front versus what the kind of industry standard is. Now, the industry standard, most lenders, they're going to provide a fee sheet, summary of kind of the closing costs and whatnot. They're going to get their application, do a credit check. They're going to do a DU an automated DU approval. They're going to issue you guys a pre-approval letter. Probably going to have anywhere from a 30 to 45 day closing time frame. If you have a good lender, they're probably going to be a little bit shorter than that. But for the most part, most of them are going to have a 21-day loan contingency and a 17-day appraisal contingency in there. Now, our pre-approval process is going to be a lot more in depth, but it's not going to be quite as in-depth as our VIP pre-approval process, which is the goal for every single one of our clients that we have. Now, the standard pre-approval within our team, they're going to get a total cost analysis. So that client's going to know all their financing figures. They're going to go through our custom buying strategy process. So they're going to understand how the buying process works. I'm sure you guys have your consultations that go through that as well. We're going to take it a step further and go through everything from the mortgage side as well. We're going to have our immediate team basically review the file. We know our underwriting guidelines like the back of our hands, so we know that this is going to be a slam dunk deal. We're going to issue our customized pre-approval letters, which are going to be tailored specific to every single home that people are going to be making offers on. And it's going to give basically a full outline of everything that we've done for that client. And it's going to have all of our reviews there as well. So that way, when you submit that offer with a pre-approval letter from our team, that listing agent is going to see not just a generic, bank pre-approval letter or generic, mortgage bank pre-approval letter. They're actually going to see a company that knows what they're doing. They have phenomenal reviews and what we've done to make sure that this file is going to be a slam dunk for that listing agent. And then we're also going to commit to ensuring that as soon as that offer goes out, within 24 hours, we're going to be calling the listing agent. Most of the time, we're calling it within the first hour that we see that offer goes out, just to kind of hammer home on the listing agent side exactly what we've done for the buyer, why it's going to be a really smooth process for their seller, and then ultimately getting that, ideally getting that offer put to the top of the list when that listing agent is reviewing it with their seller. We can close in as little as 21 days with our pre-approval. We'd have a 15-day loan contingency, a 12-day appraisal contingency. And then for that client that just wants to get pre-approved, which is very rare that they just want to get pre-approved, most of them will want to go through the VIP pre-approval process. We'll always be giving weekly market updates for every single one of our clients so that they're aware of what's transpiring in the interest rate environment, in the market as a whole. So that way they're always prepped and they're not going to be surprised that, if rates jumped up half a point, while they are going into escrow, there's not going to be any kind of surprises there because we would have prepped them and made sure that they're still going to be comfortable when they're making every single offer out in the marketplace. Cool. And then the last in what we do for I would say about 90% of our clients is our VIP pre-approval. This is where we do all the same things that we do here. However, now we've actually had the entire file reviewed by our underwriter. Now, this means that our underwriter has given them the golden stamp of approval. We've gotten all verifications of employment ordered, all tax transcripts ordered from the IRS. So that way there's literally nothing else that we need apart from a purchase contract, an appraisal, and you guys to make sure that the inspection goes well, right? And a preliminary title report. So that process allows us to close in as little as 2 weeks. We can waive the loan contingency. We've also gone through our appraisal gap strategy with our clients as well, just to make sure that they feel confident in waiving their appraisal contingency. I'm sure you guys are probably seeing right now that appraisal contingencies probably don't need to be waived at the moment, just given the current market environment that we're in. But as soon as things turn around again, if that happens, you guys have the ability to waive all of their contingencies. And I would always just recommend keeping the inspection contingency in there. They're going to continue to get their weekly market updates as well. Any questions about this? And the reason it says 1K here is we actually have a $1,000 closing guarantee for that client as well in the event that they, if for some reason that they can't close on time because of anything that we've done, we'll be crediting basically $1,000 a day to that consumer for the amount of time that it goes late.
How long does it take for the VIP pre-approval?
About 3 to 4 business days. As long from the time that we get all the documentation from them. Yeah, so if we get them in on Monday, we can ideally have everything buttoned up and dialed in for you guys by the weekend to start seeing homes. Cool. Any other questions? All right. All right, so here's kind of the process as at a high level, just so you guys kind of get an understanding of, what we do during the process to make this process so exciting. So from the start, let's say you guys have referred a client over to us, we're going to have our discovery call. And that's going to be our in-depth initial conversation with the client. It's usually going to be about a 20 to 30-minute phone call. And that's going to be where we're going to be asking all of the appropriate qualifying questions like, what's your credit look like, income, assets, and whatnot. And then we actually take it a lot further, right? We're going to want to make sure that we dive into the financial world of our clients just to make sure that we're setting up the consultation appropriately. We're going to want to know things like, do they have a trust set up? Do they have the appropriate insurance puts in place? Do they have, enough in reserve funds after closing, whether if they were to buy a home? And then we're also going to want to make sure that we dial in where that comfortability level is, right? We're going to want to go through their budget with them, figure out, how much they're able to save on a monthly basis, figure out what that transition from renting to buying is going to look like in terms of what the mortgage payment will look like. And if that's going to put them in a range that's still going to allow them to continue to save money or potentially invest in other areas as well. So that call sets up the consultation. Ideally, for the majority of clients, once they have that call with us, they're ready to get their application documentation in. We're going to schedule that consultation, and we've already reviewed all of their information, so we know what their numbers look like. And now we're going to have one of those 3 consultations that I had kind of shared with you: the equity analysis, the prepare to buy, and then the actual buyer's consultation. And then ideally, they're now out there shopping for homes. They get an offer accepted. Now we're going to be scheduling our contract meeting with the client. Now, one of the things that we've found is during the escrow process, especially at the very beginning, is when clients have the most stress about buying a home, right? They're getting emails from you guys, DocuSigns, getting DocuSigns from escrow, the title company, us, getting calls set up for the home inspection and whatnot. And so there are so many things that are going on in the first couple of days of a transaction that we try to set this contract meeting ideally right in the beginning to really set the tone and manage these stress levels during a transaction appropriately, right? Because that can really be key in ensuring that the transaction goes smoothly from there on out. Because we know that 3 of the things in America that cause the absolute most stress in a person's life is buying a home, getting a mortgage, and traffic. We're obviously helping out with 2 of those things. And so we need to ensure that we try to take as much stress out of the equation for the client and ensure a smooth transaction. Now, going through that approval process up front helps a lot with that, right? Because now we don't have a tremendous amount of documentation that we need from the client once they actually go into escrow. But this contract meeting is where we're going to go over all the financing figures. We're going to look at where the market is at and see if it makes sense to lock in the interest rate right at the beginning, or if we're seeing things trend in a beneficial direction direction for the consumer. We'll want to float it for as long as possible, and we'll commit to the client that the rate will never go higher than what we initially had quoted them on the day of contract. And ideally, we're going to see a better price, especially if we're seeing the market improve. And then we'll go over all the timelines, so we know exactly when, so they know exactly when they need all of the information that we may need. If we do need an updated pay stub or two, or an updated bank statement, depending on how long ago we got them approved, they know to get all of that information to us immediately, so that that's not going to hinder anything. And then we're going to submit everything for the updated approval once we get the appraisal back. Ideally, at that point, it's going to be clear to close right out of the process, as long as nothing has changed with regards to the buyer's file. If there's any conditions, typically those are just going to be title conditions that we'll need to just get dialed in from the title company. We'll issue the closing disclosure at that point. Oh, one thing that I forgot to mention is we send out a lot of gifts through this process. So one of the things that we send out at the contract meeting is our congrats bag. And it's a really cool little moving bag that we've set up for them. And if they have children, we're also going to be including one of the Berenstain Bears books about moving for them as well. And we get a tremendous amount of positive feedback there. A lot of our clients that are active on social media love sharing that online. So it creates just more opportunities for fans of ours that are creating engagement. They're tagging us, they're tagging you, because everything is co-branded. And so it just creates a really cool, engaging posts where, you know, their friends, family, colleagues, and whatnot are seeing them have a really phenomenal experience with buying a home. And they can't wait to reach out to them and figure out, hey, you know, my lender or my agent never did anything like this for me. You know, who did you guys work with? And it gives us opportunities to get in front of more people there. And then we do, so we get the loan updated approval. We send out during that time our Cravery cookies box. And I think Cravery is who is sponsoring the event in September as well, right?
Yeah, we use them too for
Awesome.
closing gifts a lot of times. So we're very familiar with Cravery.
I love it. And and that actually is awesome, because I can't tell you how many times a client will tell us, hey, we love these cookies. Can we get a second box? So if you guys are already sending them on your end as well, they're going to be excited, because they're going to get 2 boxes of Cravery cookies. That, you know, the first one from us will be co-branded with you guys as well. So they're going to be really excited to get that second box as well there, because those cookies, I'm sure you guys have tried them, are unreal. Then we'll go over the CD, just make sure everything looks dialed in. Everything was matching what we had initially quoted them. If there's any changes or improvements, awesome. We always kind of overestimate what the escrow and title fees are going to be right out the gates, just because we don't know exactly what these are immediately, because we don't know who the escrow and title company is. So typically when we're overestimating, the CD ends up coming a lot less than what we had initially estimated. So clients are always happy on that end. And then we get everything finalized, and we schedule, or the escrow company will schedule the final doc signing. We are always going to be available during that doc signing process, and we're going to let the client know that based on the timing that you guys have the doc signing, you know, here's my cell phone number. Call me if you guys have any questions or issues at the doc signing, just so that we're always we're just available during that process. And so we'll put it on our calendar there as well, to know that, hey, they're going to be signing during this time. Just make sure that you're on your phone, so that way, you know, if they have any questions. But for the most part, we've prepped them appropriately. They don't have any questions during the actual signing. Everything goes smoothly. And then we have our post-closing call. So this is going to be probably the most important call that we're going to make, because this really sets the tone for everything that we're going to be doing for the customer after closing, right? Because our goal is always not just to be their mortgage advisors for the 30, 60 days leading up to the transaction, but again, for the 30 years post-transaction, because that's truly how we create a successful homeownership, a successful partnership with that client, and create more opportunities for them and for us and for you guys long-term as we progress in that client's lives. So that post-closing call, we're going to basically be reviewing everything from, you know, what they're going to expect from us over the course of the next 12 months and the next 30 years. They're going to go over supplemental property taxes, where to make their mortgage payments, you know, who to reach out to if they ever have any questions, just so that way they know exactly, you know, who their points of contact are. And obviously, if they want to reach out to us directly at any time, that's absolutely okay. And then we send our final gift out as well, which is the engraved custom cutting board that we send out. And this is probably the piece that gets the most engagement, apart from the cookies, because this is just a really beautiful cutting board that we send out with the client's last names. If they have different last names, then we'll send it out with both their first names, and it'll say, you know, Joe and Jane's Kitchen or something like that. And it'll be custom engraved with both of our logos on the back as well. But I can't tell you how many times I've seen people not even utilize the cutting board because it's so pretty. They just put it up on the backsplash of their kitchen, take pictures of it. It's like a staple piece in their home. They love it. They can't, every single time we get thank yous for that cutting board. And it's just become a really cool engagement piece that we've seen be posted on social media quite a bit. And so it's really awesome to kind of see that engagement because, again, just creates new opportunities for us that, or directly for you guys, and when those opportunities come back to us, we just get to push them right back out to our agent partners that referred us the original client. So it's been awesome to see that. And then one of the things that we're going to be going over during that post-closing call as well is going to be our annual financial review. So these are things that we do every single year for our clients on the anniversary of their home loan closing. In the first year, we do a 3-month, 6-month, 9-month, and 12-month call. And then every year after that, we do it annually. And that's really where the bulk of our opportunities are found, right? This is where we have clients who have, potentially maybe racked up some debt, or maybe have increased their income substantially, or maybe they had another kid. And, we wouldn't have known that had we not asked the appropriate questions, right? And so we find out everything that's transpired in our clients' lives over the course of the last year as it pertains to their financial well-being. And if there's ever any opportunities that we can, help out with in terms of maybe they, have some renovations that they want to do and they need to open up a home equity line of credit, or maybe they've come into some more money and now they want to maybe buy another investment property, right? So or maybe they didn't even know that their equity had grown so much, but they didn't know what to do with that equity. But we were able to have a conversation with them, show them that if they leveraged a home equity line of credit or pulled some cash out of their home, they could buy an income property that's going to help them grow and maximize their wealth over time, right? That's one of the biggest pushes for all of this, is really helping our clients grow their real estate portfolios over time, ensuring that they are connected with the appropriate people that are going to help protect those assets and help grow those assets as well. And this annual financial review is really going to be the best way that we go about that. Any questions on that end? I know it was a long process there. All right.
Amit's really good at marathon talking. So if you guys don't break up his run, he'll keep going.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Could you go back to that previous slide? I think it was the last point. Oh, the financial reviews. Is that something that the agents are allowed to sit in on or invited to?
We can definitely ask, because we review personal financial information.
Gotcha.
Typically, we don't have our agents on that call, but what we do is immediately after that call, we update our agent partners. So that way, at least you know what transpired. And obviously, like specific financial information we can't share, but we can tell you, okay, well now, hey, this is what they're thinking. They just had another kid. They're thinking in the next year or two that they maybe want to move up into a larger home. So that way you can get it on your radar that in the next year or two, follow up with them, or maybe even follow up with them shortly after, and, just stay top of mind with them, right? But at least you got the direction from us that, hey, these clients are probably going to be looking to transact in the next 12 to 24 months. It's time to start getting ahead of them, start marketing to them, and see if we can maybe speed that up along. But at least make sure that we're always top of mind during that process, so that way they don't forget about us.
Yeah.
Where you agents can sit in on, and we actually do encourage you guys to sit in on, is the consultation. So the second point right here, that's an awesome way for you guys to get to know your client a bit better, see exactly what the game plan is going to be, and then, see how we do our process. So that way you can be able to, feel a lot more confident with what your client is getting when using us. All we ask is that you get verbal or written permission from your client that you guys could sit in on that call, because we do talk about really, we go really in depth with their finances, is what Amit was saying before.
Yeah.
So we just need to make sure that anytime that we're going to be jumping on a call or a Zoom call together where we go over personal financial information with the client, we just need to make sure that the client is aware that we're going to be discussing that, and make sure that they're okay with you being on the call. Just because we've run into one situation in the last 7 years where the client didn't realize that they were going to be going over more in-depth financial information, and they just said, yeah, it's cool. Their realtor was a close friend of theirs, so they were like, yeah, it's cool. But because they had some unique financing issues. It was a little bit embarrassing for them, so that didn't create the best experience. So we just want to make sure that we absolutely get the confirmation from the client that they're okay with that, because sometimes they may be more comfortable discussing finances, especially if you are a friend of the client. They may be more comfortable discussing personal financial information only with their lender, and they just don't want a realtor who might be a friend to know their personal financial business.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Yeah, that financial review reminded me of real estate reviews. I think a couple people on our team do I think ninja selling is where the idea came from, or at least that's how I became familiar with the idea. But the regular financial reviews sounds like it would pair really well with real estate reviews, if any of you guys on our team are familiar with those.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it. Cool. All right. Any other questions or comments before I move on here? All right. So this is basically a summary of all the resources that your clients are going to have available to you, so that way you can kind of get an idea. So our client success manager is basically the person who is going to be doing the post-closing calls and the annual financial reviews and setting up potential equity analysis plans. So they're going to be doing the post-closing call, the 3, 6, and 12-month concierge calls. They're going to be doing the annual financial reviews. They're going to be getting additional information out to the clients on a monthly basis, just so that way they understand what all their available options are in today's environment and stay up to date with what the market is doing. And they're going to be scheduling those equity analysis plans for the mortgage advisor and the client directly. Now, one of the things, and I'm sure you guys probably have this as well, is we have an awesome sphere of people that we utilize to ensure that our clients are within the same network of people that we want them to be in, right? We have the same financial advisors that we connect them to, the appropriate real estate agents. Obviously, if they're coming from you guys, then we want to make sure that, we're embedding all of your guys' partners, so that way everything's staying within your guys' realm. So I'm assuming you guys have financial advisors, estate planning attorneys, CPAs, tax pros that you guys are connecting your clients with if they request that.
Yeah, we do. But we're actually always working on expanding sort of our sphere and finding, more resources for our clients. Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. Yeah. So that's absolutely one thing that we want to do with every single one of our clients, right? If we know that our client's working with a really good financial advisor, a really good CPA or tax preparer, a really good estate planning attorney, which I don't really know what the mark of a really good estate planning attorney is, but if they say that they have a really good estate planning attorney or financial advisor, we're going to want to connect with that person, right? And especially like if it's your client, we're going to want to notify you, hey, these guys have a really good financial advisor, because those are really good ancillary business partnership opportunities that we can create relationships with to ultimately have more reciprocal referral opportunities there as well, right? Because nobody trusts their resources the way that people trust financial advisors, right? Because those are people that they've trusted to handle all of their money. If we get a referral from a financial advisor, or from or a financial advisor refers a mortgage lender, or a financial advisor refers a real estate agent, that's like a easy close right there, right? Because they're just not going to shop us. They're not going to look at other real estate professionals, because they came from such a trusted source in their end as well. So we want to make sure that we are diving into every single one of our client spheres. If they're really good financial advisors, awesome. We're going to want to partner with them. Same thing for CPAs and tax preparers, just so that way, if they don't have someone that they really like or trust, we can at least connect them with someone that is in our network. So that way they never get the opportunity to get referred elsewhere as well, right? And that's really how we keep all of our clients in-house and ensure that they're working with people that we've vetted, we've set our trust in, and we're making sure that everyone's working within that sphere. Does that make sense? Awesome. Thanks for the question, Olivia. And then these are basically the softwares that we've implemented, as well as kind of what we offer to all our clients as well. So the big thing that we've been pushing are our corporate offerings, right? And one of the best ways that we can really help generate a tremendous amount of a tremendous amount of leads is by, let's say if you have a client who's in HR or is a higher level up executive within their company, this is how we ultimately got into Facebook as a partnership. So I had a client back in 2016, I believe, who was a VP of corporate sponsorships at Facebook, and she had a phenomenal experience working with our team. We kind of walked her through our entire platform, everything that we do for our clients, and this was before it was even as in-depth as it is today. And that's how we were able to get an opportunity to go up to the Facebook campus, have a little pop-up stand there. And now we're technically listed as the preferred lender for Facebook, along with a couple of other lenders as well. But because we had that conversation, we dived in with that partnership opportunity with that client. It created more opportunities for us. Now we can, go to Facebook whenever we want, set up a pop-up event over there and talk to people about opportunities for home ownership. And that's generated a tremendous amount of business for us. And the good thing there is a lot of those people don't have real estate agents right out the gates, right? And so we have opportunities now to refer business back to our agent partners in that way. And that's one of the best ways. I'm working on right now an opportunity to get in the Blizzard campus here in Irvine, which is going to be great because there's a ton of people that need homes in there, especially with them moving to more of a hybrid / fully remote work. Everybody that I've worked with at Blizzard, which has been a tremendous amount of people, it's created so many more opportunities for us there. So absolutely every single one of your clients, especially the ones that are higher up, be making sure that you're trying to get in touch with whoever's in charge of their corporate sponsorships or corporate affinity partnerships within their offers and within their offices. And that's something that we're going to help out on our end. And again, any of those clients that come from the client that you had referred to us are all going to be pushed back to you. We do a lot of past client events. And Erica can be the resource to help set those up, but she helps set up a ton of sponsorship events for a lot of our past clients, for a lot of our agent partners as well. And then we also send out our HomeBot Wealth Digest. I'm sure you guys have probably been familiar with that as well. Not almost every lender, but quite a few lenders utilize HomeBot, but a lot of lenders don't utilize it at the level that they really need to, because HomeBot is really a massive database mining tool that can allow you guys to really get into the mindsets of your consumers and ultimately see when they're going to transact, what they're thinking, whether they're thinking about potentially selling their home, whether they're thinking about potentially leveraging some equity in their home, and really getting in front of that, right? And providing valuable information while they're in that mindset. So that's one thing that we really use at a high level. Our HomeBot email activity is like over 85% open rates, which is unheard of in the industry for any email marketing. So that's been a really, really good tool for us to be able to get back in front of our clients when they're in the appropriate mindset to ultimately make a decision that may allow them to transact. And then we also utilize our sales boomerang software. So this software has really been a game changer for our past client database to really make sure that we're not missing anything and we're getting ahead of every opportunity that client may have. So when a client has 68% loan to value, so they've paid down their balance or their home value has grown to a point where they have 32% equity in it, that's kind of the trigger point that notifies us that, hey, these clients have a really good opportunity to either cash out of their home or sell the home, get rid of mortgage insurance if they haven't already. And this just triggers a phone call to the client, right? And especially, and everything is, mirrored with our database. So they know, okay, this client has X interest rate. So there may or may not be opportunities to, improve the terms, but there may be opportunities to help them see how they can use their equity to acquire additional real estate down the line. This also gives us insight into any significant life events that occur. So Sales Boomerang will notify us if that person ever gets married, divorced, has a child, gets enrolled in a master's program, if somebody passes away in that person's life, or if that person passes away, or if that person has listed their home and we didn't know about it. Very rare that happens, but at least we'll know about that in the event that they decided to use a different agent or something like that. But it allows us really cool opportunities to get in front of them when significant life events are happening, right? If they just had a baby, we'll get notified. We can give them a call. Ideally, we're already friends with them on social media and whatnot, so we know kind of what's happening in their lives. But if we're not, at least this gives us an opportunity to get ahead of them and say congratulations on whatever's happening in their life. Or if they're going through a divorce, we can help them navigate through that as well. And then it'll also kind of monitor their credit as well, right? So if they ever run their credit for a mortgage application or something like that, we'll always know. So that way we can get ahead of that and make sure that they're not doing anything that they're not supposed to be doing, or at least providing appropriate guidance through whatever they are doing. Cool. And then the last process is our Neo experience. So we have our Homebinder app, which is basically what we utilize to help clients really make that transition from one home to another be as seamless as possible. So they're going to, by utilizing Homebinder, they can, get access to moving services through it. They can basically get all of their utilities transferred over from one house to another in a really seamless way, get their new cable and internet and everything set up there. So it makes just that process really easy. And it also just helps them own their home at a really high level, right? I didn't know until like 3 years ago that you had to change air filters in your house. That was a complete shock to me. And my girlfriend was livid with me when she found out I had not changed my air filter in 3 years. She swears that the air is so much better now that we did it. I don't know if that's really the case. I haven't noticed anything, but that reminded me that I needed to change my air filter. And so when we started using that, and then we have our perfect loan promise. Our perfect loan promise is basically our commitment to every single one of our clients that their loan is always going to be in the absolute best position possible. So if there is a better interest rate available, a better term available, or a more opportunistic financing scenario available for them, we are going to proactively reach out to them and help them take advantage of it. So that way they can save so much more money in interest over the lives of their loans. And they always know that their loan is in the best position that it could be in based on where the market is at that time. Yeah. And then lastly, and what I feel is going to be the biggest game changer for our entire customer base and prospective client base is the new Neo Experience app that we have created. And it's been a long time coming that we've been creating that application. I'm sure Ryan's going to be talking about it at the event on the 20th. But basically what it is a full, basically home array of services suite within an application. It's going to help all of our clients get access to their credit reports so that way they know that their credit is always in the right position. It's going to help them, be effectively a budgeting tool where they can, it's kind of like Mint or You Need a Budget. And then it's also going to put a home buying readiness score for them as well, right? It's going to allow them to look at what their overall debt to income ratio is. It's going to help them analyze their financing options, give them an idea of what they can qualify for. If they already own a home, they put all their information in there. They're going to have more information as to what they can do with that equity. And it always allows them to re-engage with us at any time to ultimately just know where their equity position is, where their financial picture is at a high level, and then re-engage with us if they ever have any questions there. So I think that's going to be the biggest game changer for our industry here. Cool. I know this is a ton of stuff, which I'm assuming probably a lot of you have never seen before, but as far as a mortgage lending partnership, what questions do you guys have for me about this? All right. Cool.
That means that you're answering it really well.
I love it.
Yeah. Not a question, but that's really robust and that's awesome to see. I don't know that I've seen anything quite so built out like that. So that's super cool.
Cool.
You guys are definitely system and tech heavy, which is awesome.
Now I know why you get along with Siri.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, Ashley, you're listed as Siri right now. I was like, oh, Siri's here.
My Zoom wouldn't work, so.
Yeah. No, but it's cool to see because there's just so much cool technology out there. So
awesome.
Well, we know a lot of you bigger teams really rely on that. So that's a way that we pivoted as well because we're a larger team too. And we've just found that that's just the way the world is moving is towards more technology. People want more app facing stuff, more ways to be involved and be connected. So
yeah, definitely. And to take it's just so automated too. Some of these reports and stuff, it's just mining the data. So our agents don't have to do so much of that.
And that's the biggest thing for us is we know you guys already have so much on your plate as is, and you guys are scattered doing 80 million things at once. So we are trying to do the best thing that we can do in order to help you guys focus on your genius zone. And your genius zone is finding houses and selling houses, and leave everything else to us. We'll do all the heavy work and grunt work of the financing and nitty gritty stuff that helps the follow-up engagement in order to push them back to you to ultimately, again, use your genius zone, which is finding houses and selling houses.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Cool. All right. So ways that we found basically to just be the best practices to getting clients over to us. So these are really the handoff processes that we've found truly work. Now, if we have a client that's like, all right, they didn't want to get pre-approved, but now they found a home that they really like and they want to make an offer today, right? Put us in a group text. That's the easiest way to do it, just because then it's right on our phones. We know right away. And also email our team mailbox, because somebody's managing that all the time. So that way we know to basically jump on something that's super urgent right away and call them, within that hour. So that's if they're ideally like looking to make an offer today and they really need someone to jump on it immediately. The secondary route is scheduling a meeting directly for that client utilizing our scheduling link, right? That's what I feel like has been one of the biggest conversion improvements that we've seen is, anytime you're having a client consultation, you're talking to the client, they ask you for, a referral to a lender. Cool. Hey, I have my lender's scheduling link right here. How about I schedule this initial call for you right now? You can use meetwithamit.com to schedule a meeting, or you can also utilize callamit.com to schedule that initial phone call as well. And that's really what we found to be the best opportunity for us to ensure that that client is available during that time and that call actually happens, right? Because what we found is, if we, get an email just saying, hey, call this client, or a text is saying, hey, call this client, we may call them at a time that they're not available to sit down for 20, 30 minutes and have that initial phone call and go through the actual process that we know that's going to convert them at the highest level. And so this allows them to get a calendar invite put directly onto their calendar. It puts it onto our calendar. So it's absolutely going to happen. And we've just found that conversion happens so much better when that call is scheduled up front. Or, you can just send over that email introduction. And then ultimately we will reach out to the client as soon as we get that email. And then ideally just continuously call them until, not in an annoying way, but call them and reach out to them in a time to get that initial call scheduled so we can get that process going with them.
The best feedback I've gotten from our realtors that say they preferred this process, and it's actually something I was talking to George about yesterday, and he said that most of you guys on this call are pretty familiar with this process already because you guys are doing it with your current lenders that you're working with. Email the insight team at neohomeloans.com, CC myself and Amit, or CC myself and our other mortgage advisor, Daniel. And we can get back to you guys within an hour maximum. And it just makes it a lot easier for you guys to remember just to always send them through email. If it's the weekend, definitely, I'm going to send you guys a follow-up email with how to get in touch with us over the weekend too. Just put us in a group text and say, hey, I sent you guys an email. Go ahead and take a look at it. And then we could jump on it a lot more quickly.
Awesome.
Any questions on that? Cool.
Well, that is pretty much the end of our presentation here. So if you guys have any questions, comments, thoughts about what we do, please feel free to share them with us. I love hearing feedback and I love getting questions as well.
Yeah, I have a quick comment for the process that you guys showed us from the pre to the post, financial planning, the follow-ups that the consumer gets. Yep. I think that's a really great benefit to them. So I'm really glad that you shared that information because I like how you guys keep in mind the consumer's financial planning, not only in the beginning of the whole home loan process, but even after, because I think that's kind of what sets them up for success, and then trust the company and the agents that help them get there throughout the entire process. So I think it's really, really wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really been one of the ways that we've been really able to drive a tremendous amount of value to our customers, right? If we put them in touch with the appropriate financial planner who's going to help them grow their wealth in other avenues, if we put them with the appropriate CPA who's going to help them take advantage of any tax benefits that they're not already taking advantage of, right? These are the ways that we truly help build success for our clients. And as long as we're vetting out the appropriate people that we're connecting them to and making sure that they have business mindsets that align with ours and, align with our clients' interests, that's how we kind of figure out who's going to be the appropriate partner to connect our clients with. Cool. Really great feedback. Thank you, Melissa. Awesome. So one of the things that I always kind of recommend at the end of these calls is really over the course of the last 2 years, I'm sure you guys have had a tremendous amount of clients that have either made the decision not to buy a home, gotten cold feet, or decided to just stop, running that ball of buying a home in the future. If you guys haven't already, which I'm sure a lot of you guys already are, those people that you've spoken to in the last 2 years that have not yet transacted, now is really one of the best times to kind of get back in front of them, get them re-engaged. We'll share with them that, hey, home prices are starting to pull back a little bit. Right now are the opportunities to get, massive amounts of seller concessions that can help improve your payments and get them into a range of where you're comfortable again, especially if affordability was the biggest issue that you were facing. And most importantly, perhaps they didn't go through a full financial transition consultation or an equity analysis consultation where they can actually see what those numbers look like for themselves and see if that's going to be the right decision for them and their families. And so I would challenge you guys to really get back in front of them, especially over the next 90 days. I'm sure things have gotten slow for a lot of people right now. So if they are slow for you right now, I would basically be calling every single one of those clients and having them be put in front of us to have them go through that consultation process and just see how our process works and see how we can take that anxiety or lack of interest in wanting to buy a home any longer and turn that into confidence, motivation, and real excitement to get back out there and start shopping with you guys.
So I have a quick question. This is Renee.
Hey, Renee.
Sorry, I don't have my camera on. So do you guys, most of the struggle right now I find with a lot of my buyers is that, they're payment sensitive, right? And then they find out what their payment is and then they pull back from the market. Do you guys, are y'all offering like the 2-1 buy down and ARM
we offer
products
the 2-1 buy down. We have ARM products. We also have our newest product, which is the 3-2-1 buy down, where a client can actually buy their interest rate down by 3% for the first year. So that does require some pretty heavy seller concessions, but we've been able to be successful with getting those. But absolutely, I mean, we have every product available under the sun, and we're competitively priced in terms of interest rates, and we're going to walk through a client all of those financing options up front, so that way they can also see how that can improve their purchasing power as well, right? Because if they are getting a significant amount of credit from the seller, that can allow us to buy down their interest rate and increase what they can effectively qualify for in terms of a purchase price. And really, that's been a big driving factor in helping clients get into homes that they really want. And then also, we want to show them the long-term outlook as well, right? We aren't expecting rates to stay in these ranges forever. And so probably within the next 12 to 24 months is what we're going to be expecting interest rates to start falling back pretty quickly, right? And so we want to show them not only what their monthly payments going to look like right now, but what the opportunities are going to look like on the horizon. So that way they can understand and get into that mindset of, okay, well, this is not my forever payment. I'm going to get the house that I want, ideally at a price point that it's going to be a little bit more attainable for me, with the appropriate concessions that are going to help me get into a payment that's going to be a little bit more comfortable, with the aspect of what is our long-term outlook going to look like. In the next 2 years, we're going to look at refinancing, getting our payment down even further and getting ourselves into a much better financing position, while also seeing our incomes, gradually increase over the years as well.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because most buyers are most times they're just concerned, what does my payment look like,
Absolutely.
And
that's a huge concern. That's the biggest concern we're facing right now.
Yeah, we just saved a buyer and did a 2-1 buy down. I mean, when he found out what his payment was going to be, he walked away. And unfortunately, with this lender, we didn't really know what that payment was going to look like until we went under contract. Which is not preferred, but whatever.
Yeah.
And so then we, I was like, hey, hold on just a second. We may have some options for you. So it sounds like that when you get a buyer, you dig a little deeper with them. And, if the payment is a, shock to them at that time, then you can offer those other programs.
Yeah. And I would say, just because of what the market entails right now, those are things that we're talking to them regardless of if they express concern or not, right? Because these are just really cool tools that are going to, one, make us stand out if we're getting ahead of it and, being the first person to explain what these opportunities are. And even if we're not, one thing that I found, especially that same client that I was talking to you guys about earlier, that I had a meeting with on Friday, she had met with 3 other lenders prior to us, and all of them kind of briefly talked about those options, but none of them actually showed them what those options look like. None of them created a total cost analysis for her. And after going through that hour-long meeting with us, that was that was the game changer that she needed. She basically canceled all of her applications with all the other lenders, is moving forward purely with us, and already referred us a client as well, purely because we took the time to explain to her what the opportunities are in today's market and how they're going to be beneficial for her with this upcoming first-time home purchase for her.
Perfect. And you might have already said this, but who is your loan officer contacts? Are you going to send that to us?
Yep, that's going to be myself, as well as my mortgage advisor, Daniel Scher, and then our other mortgage advisor, John Fung.
Okay. And I will email you guys. So I've been emailing team@thebrandrealty.com. Are you guys all seeing all my lovely emails that I send you guys 24/7? Because
yeah, we see them.
See you guys all the time. That's another thing. If you pair with us, I mean, I'm a little biased, but I do think I'm a big help to you guys in the sense that I'll send you guys market updates, what's going on with rates on a weekly base, send you guys marketing that you could use for your social media. We could get it co-branded with you guys, and just like, also blog posts that you could send out to your clients in order to just start new conversation with them from a different perspective. So I'm always trying to find ways to help you guys. If you ever have an idea that you think would be super awesome and something that would benefit your clients, please reach out to me. I'd love to hear and collaborate with you guys a little bit more closely. So the team email @Brand Realty, I don't need everyone's email, right? I could just send that and you guys will get everything. Perfect. Okay, so I will send all of our contact information in that email, along with just reiterating the best way to get in touch with us. And I see we're a little bit over time. Does anyone have any other questions before we leave you guys to have the rest of your Tuesday?
I have one last question.
Let's hear it, Melissa.
So the entire process, like loan consultation process from beginning to end, that's all through like phone or like Zoom type communication methods, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I was just curious because you guys are in Irvine, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you guys don't have like any satellite campuses like in San Diego or Southern California, or you do?
So if clients needed to like drop off documentation, we absolutely have that.
Okay, great. Yeah, I wasn't sure about that because I saw Irvine and I wasn't sure if there was any other additional campuses.
Yeah, and
but that's good to know. Thank you.
We go to our ancillary offices there as well all the time.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right.
And we don't just service California. We're actually nationwide except for New York and Nebraska. So if you guys have out-of-state clients that you guys are working with, or if you guys need referrals for out-of-state people, we're pretty well connected. So just let us know. Actually, one of my favorite teams from Prescott, Arizona is going to be coming to our event on the 20th with you guys. They're really excited to meet you guys. They're an incredible team and they absolutely kill it in Prescott. So I'm excited to introduce you guys to them.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Sorry, we're a little bit over time here, but I really appreciate you guys taking the time to spend with us today, and really looking forward to meeting all of you guys in a few weeks here.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. And this recording will go out to all the agents who couldn't make it on today. So
Awesome.
we'll send over any questions if there's any once they watch it back.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Thank you
All
guys.
right. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your week.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Amanda.